All right.
All right.
Welcome to another episode of the Humanization Project, and I'm here with my friend Richard to talk to him today. Richard runs a really great organization called Bridging the Gap in Virginia, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, Richard, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started this organization as a direct result of my former incarceration. When I came home from prison and I did federal time and state time, I had a challenge with getting employment. You know, and that's with a college degree and 10 years of middle management experience. So it took me a while to go back and forth to get employment to, it used to be called the Richmond Career Advancement Center. And I was there every morning as if I worked there. And then ultimately I did get hired. But at the same time, there was some issues that I still had to deal with as far as substance abuse. So I ended up going into treatment. And then I came out of treatment in 2007 and haven't looked back since, you know. So now I started Bridging the Gap in Virginia in 2009. So we've been going since then. You know, I go into the prisons. I'm a statewide certified volunteer, so I can go in any prison in the state. I also go to court for individuals to hopefully seek alternative sentencing other than incarceration.
Right.
I go to parole board hearings for individuals and their families in hopes that their loved one can be released, which brings me to the fact that this is an unprecedented that just happened, that the parole board has granted my organization to have individuals sanctioned to our program in Newport News.
Wow.
So we got our first individual a week ago, Monday, last Monday, and he's doing well. He spent 40 years in prison, and now under our instruction, our tutelage, our mentoring, we're helping him to become stable. We put him in an apartment down there where we have a contract agreement with the realtor that she will house our individuals as long as they have the funds. So prior to us accepting an individual, we make sure that they have family support, financial support from their families in order to move in. You know, I'm kind of a little upset with the Department of with the Department of Corrections, because they have this $1 billion operation budget, all right? And they started a reentry program, but individuals that are geriatric are eligible for Social Security. They're not initiating the paperwork while they're in the last phase of reentry before they're released. I got a big problem with this. This gentleman came out with nothing. He got his sisters that have been supporting him financially. However, though, you know, that's something that's a part of reentry that they're missing out on, that they need to be able to do the paperwork to get it started.
Right. There's a lot of people that don't have sisters to
Of
help
course,
them, you know?
especially if they've already been approved for a home plan, they have an address. Yeah, so it takes that time between them being released and them receiving from Social Security for the process to take place. So I'm kind of disappointed with the way they do their reentry. But I'm hoping it'll change, you know. So then right now, you know, the General Assembly is back in session, effective tomorrow. So there's a bunch of bills that are going in dealing with criminal justice system. And I'm looking forward to them. You know, I'm not that guy that bites my tongue when I offer testimony and support for bills that need to be passed. So I think I need to change my tone, though, because that just based on my tone, they might not want to pass them. So I had to think about that. You know, every time I went into the Courts of Justice Committee, Mr. Gilbert and Mr. What's the other guy's name? Todd Gilbert and John, oh Lord, help me, Jen.
I don't know.
Gilbert was the chair
L?
of Courts of, and and Mr. Bell, Rob Bell, they turn 3 shades red when they see me come in because they know I'm about to open up both barrels on them about bills, you know. But now that the Democrats are in control, I have to soften my tone. You know, I hold them accountable as well for not fighting for these bills, you know, because I submitted a bill last year and got Dolores McQuinn, who is my delegate, to patron the bill. But she took out important parts of the bill, you know, the appropriations part and the oversight part. And then it made me look real silly when I went to offer testimony for it. And then Todd Gilbert says, well, when I talked about the cost factor, appropriations, he said, well, Mr. Walker, that's not in this bill. And I looked over at Dolores McQuinn and she shook her head like that. And then when I talked about the oversight, he said, again, Mr. Walker, that's not in this bill.
Oh, wow.
So she had taken out the key elements of the bill. So needless to say, it never made it out of committee.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting the same bill went through and is being chief patron by Joseph Lindsay down in Norfolk. And I'm excited about it because it's the same bill and he has the cost factor in there as well as the oversight factor. So I'm believing this bill will go through this year. It's for nonviolent offenders that have committed crimes beyond 8 years. So anything past 8 years, they can have their records sealed, you know, expunged. So we're excited about it and see what happens. Plus the other bills, you know, Fishback bill, the sentencing guidelines bill for judges, you know, decriminalizing marijuana, juveniles that being incarcerated can be geriatric after 20 years, come 20 years, you know, so they don't have to spend a lifetime incarcerated. Mental health bills, you know, I shot for a bill for statewide mental health dockets. So it will stop putting individuals with mental health issues in prison as opposed to addressing their mental health issues. So and that's what Virginia does. They imprison people, but then they know they can't take care of them.
Right.
You know, I've had a family member, in fact, that was in a low level one up at State Farm, and because they were not giving him his medication, he had an episode. You know, and that was because directly related to them not providing his medication. So I made that phone call to the medical department at headquarters, and they resumed his medication. However, they transferred him to another facility, which is a level 3-4. You know, so they've since moved him back into a level 1, but it was just the whole process of them not knowing how to handle individuals with mental health issues.
Yeah.
They're understaffed. They don't have psychologists or psychiatrists or licensed clinical social workers on staff.
Right.
You know, so I really want to push the mental health docket so that would be an alternative to incarceration for mental health clients.
That's great.
So, so there's a lot. Then I'm involved in environmental justice. All right, as a direct result of my family heritage in Union Hill, Buckingham County.
Oh, okay.
All right, we've owned this land since my great-great-grandfather was a freed slave.
Wow.
Back in 1887.
Wow.
And Dominion is trying to seize that land for the pipeline and the compressor station. Because we right along the line of where the proposed pipeline and compressor station is supposed to be built. And we've already lived through Transco, excuse me, Transco oil, where we've had been there since early 50s, before I was born. So what they want to do is connect on our property to the Transco line to complete the compressor station. And so I've been fighting that for over a year now.
Wow.
But the folks in Union Hill, Friends of Buckingham, CCAN, Sierra Club, they've been fighting that pipeline for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I just got on the bandwagon a year ago as a direct result of representing being a voice for my family.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still have family members still reside there in Union Hill within less than a quarter of a mile from the proposed ACP. Yeah, so we're looking that won't happen. I'm feeling real confident
Good.
that the Dominion will be stopped. You know, that's with the ACP, the MVP, the station they're looking to do in Charles City. We're looking to stop it all. You know, so we've in court. We're waiting on a decision right now from the 4th District here in Richmond to a decision as to whether they're going to allow them to continue or stop it.
Wow.
So it's been exciting. It's been nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we're hopeful.
Yeah.
You
I hope
know,
it
we're
works.
hoping. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. The Green New Deal will be having a General Assembly protest in March tomorrow after this annual prayer breakfast that they do.
Oh.
Yeah, at the convention center.
Oh.
I'm invited to the breakfast. Then we'll be outside after the breakfast protesting
Wow.
or pushing for the Green New Deal.
Cool.
And the general is seeing all of these politicians coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to bombard them
That's great.
with a whole lot of folk. So yeah, I'm grateful for what's going on in Bridging the Gap in Virginia.
Yeah.
You know, I got funded for solar training and training formerly incarcerated convicted felons on how to install solar panels.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so we did a training in Buckingham, Union Hill, back in June. And then I got additional funding and did a training here in Richmond for the Office of Community Wealth Building and the Richmond Health District, you know, and those were for that age group between 18 and 24.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so in total, we had 10 in Buckingham and 11 here in Richmond. So there's 21 individuals so far, and we've trained in how to install panels, solar panels. So our plan is for future, in the near future, is to establish our own solar panel crews that we will bid for jobs
Yeah.
or contracts on new solar installation. You know, I'm confident that these guys learned enough to know how to install the panels.
Yeah.
So then, on top of it, I partnered with another organization that's called Confinement Mavens, okay? And they're out of Buckingham, okay? So they have property that we're looking to create our own Green Jobs Workforce Center.
Wow.
Yeah, up in Union Hill, Buckingham County. I was just there all day yesterday going through the property and going through blueprints and how we're going to try and reconstruct this and working on putting out some social media for funding in order to build that out. And we're currently working on 2 grants, one with the EPA and one with the DOE, Department of Energy. So we're confident that we're going to be able to do this, that we can address individuals that are about to be released from prison and help them with getting that training prior to being released. So when they come out, they can be a part of our crews that we can put to work. So that's exciting.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
You're putting together 2 really great things to put together.
Yes,
Environmental activism
environmental and criminal justice.
Yeah. It's
So
beautiful.
it's an exciting day right now. I've been back and forth to Buckingham a lot in the past year. So what better? Because we're looking to get funding not only to create the training center, but also to provide transportation for these guys.
Cool.
You know, so that we can literally pick guys up from Richmond, take them out to Buckingham, and they'll be there during the day getting additional training. Because we will also offer electrical training. One of the gentlemen that is involved that we partnered with, he is an instructor with the Department of Corrections, and he has an apprenticeship program already for electrical and for HVAC. So we have electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and solar.
Wow.
So these will be industry recognized certifications that they can get to get gainfully employed.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's exciting. Yeah.
You've got a lot going
A
on,
lot
Richard.
going on. I'm all over the place. You know, I tell folk, I said, listen, I need a secretary in my brain to keep up with everything that I got to do from one day to the next. Yeah, and that's a realistic situation. You know.
Do you have any downtime?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
If you get any downtime, what do you do
I'm
with
sleep.
yourself? You sleep.
I'm sleep. That's what I do. I am a very involved member of Narcotics Anonymous also, so that eats up a lot of my time. I'm just busy, you know. I need a full, well, the group I have now, they're alleviating some of that stress, some of that busyness, because I have an intern that's been with me since May of this past summer, that she keeps our website updated. She works on, you know, stuff that we need. And I got another intern that came on board since September. And they both are from the University of Richmond. And he's doing all of our stuff like that, you know, creating social media for us, creating crowdfunding, you know, appeals for us. He's been doing a great job. John and Mira, those are two awesome interns, students at University of Richmond.
That's great.
They came under the tutelage or direction of Professor Mary Finley Brooke. You know, so she is like my advisor in a whole lot of ways. Yeah, technical and otherwise, you know, helps me keep focused on what I'm supposed to be doing.
What does she teach?
She teaches, you didn't ask that question.
That's okay.
She's a professor of geography.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and climate. Yeah, so she's very directly involved in everything going on with Dominion throughout the entire state, you know, and elsewhere, you know. Then I had the fortunate opportunity that there was a gentleman that I met. His name is Tim Guinea. I met him. He explained to me, he's on the production crew for that movie Harriet, talking with Harriet Tubman. And he was at the event that we had last February in Buckingham with Reverend Barber and Al Gore. And he met me then, but I did not remember who he was. So he's talking about, he put me in touch where we had a three-way conversation. We've had 3 meetings so far on how to do a national solar installation training in all of the prisons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the guy that the other is Robert Blake. Robert Blake is a Native American, and he's at Standing Rock, where the whole issue of them wanting to build a pipeline below their sacred land.
Right.
And he started solar training there.
Oh, cool.
And took it to Chicago, and then he's met with some congressmen to do a national solar training throughout the entire country for the prisons.
So great.
So we're collaborating on that. I'm supposed to be in Minnesota in April, that we will have all parts of the pieces to be able to present to the Department of Justice, to the Bureau of Justice Assistance, in order to start this nationwide training.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
You probably don't know, but I was a conservation scientist for many
Oh, were
years.
you?
I worked for the Smithsonian. I was out in
No
Hawaii.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that could have been lovely. In Hawaii,
It was lovely.
conservation, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that would have been a good, why did you leave it?
I left for love
Oh,
and family.
okay,
So,
okay, yeah. I that's on my bucket list.
yeah.
Hawaii.
Definitely go.
Haven't been
If you want to
there.
go, let me know. I'll take you.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, we'll go have a tour. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah. I don't get to go get away too much.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to, you know, Orlando a couple of times. I have a fraternity brother in Orlando, so I go down there and hang out with him. You know, I play golf, so he gets me on the golf course down there. Some of the famous golf courses down there that are part of the PGA Tour.
Do you play golf up here?
No. I'm a hacker, you know, and I'm too busy up here that I can't even take time, you know, to go and just swing clubs and hit balls, you know. But it's just fun to go hang out with
Yeah.
guys, and I'm usually driving the cart, so
Yeah.
because I'm the only one that's sober. All the rest of them are,
Oh, no.
yeah, they're drinking throughout the whole 18 holes. So,
Wow.
yeah, so but it's fun.
You don't think about needing a designated driver for golf usually.
Yeah, that's what I am, designated driver on the golf cart. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to 2020
Yeah.
for a lot of changes with me personally and with what I do, and more opportunities to help more people, and more opportunities to put people in positions where they can have a meaningful, viable life.
Yeah.
You know, that I truly believe that the brown and black men can, if they establish themselves in gainful employment, they can make a difference in their family reintegration or family unity, help their children educational-wise, because the children will have somebody to look up to, and they'll do better if they see better.
Oh, totally.
You know, to help with changing the narrative with mental health. You know, so there's a lot that, you know, I'm considering on fighting for. You know, I'm in a whole lot of different fights. You know, when they restored my rights back under Governor McDonald back in 2012. And they told me I had the right to vote. I have the right to sit on the jury, which I got a letter 3 weeks after my rights were restored for jury duty. Then they told me I have the right to be a public notary, which I am. Then they told me I had the right to run for public office, which I'm considering.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm considering I'm running for city council, 6th district here in Richmond. I haven't made an announcement. I'm about to make one soon. As soon as I make sure that all those that say that they're going to support me will be ready to make it happen.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, you know, win, lose, or draw, I'm throwing my hat in the ring primarily because they said I can.
Yeah.
After they restored my rights. So that's my whole meaningful purpose of a platform, period.
Yeah.
You know, just because you said I can, I am.
Yeah.
So someone told me, yeah, that's a real catchy phrase. You know, so why not? Let's go with it.
Yeah.
So between now and I would say the end of February, I would probably be making an announcement.
Cool.
Yeah. I have at least 4 people that said they'll be on my campaign to get started. You know, create a website and the whole 9.
Awesome.
Yeah, and start receiving donations and all that for that. So a lot of busyness going on.
Yeah. All these things, you've got all this stuff going on. Which piece of it are you the most passionate about, or is it just the whole thing?
Oh, criminal justice, helping people get out of prison. Yeah, because Virginia has the highest incarceration rate in the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm ready to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know, yeah. It's time for them to change the entire process of, you know, criminal justice. They need to bring parole back in. They need to release everyone that came under the Fishback court decision.
Yeah.
Everyone, they need to be released. Not to be eligible for parole, but be released.
Right.
They spent enough time based on these judges.
Yeah.
You know, their intentional display of injustice by not telling jury members that parole has been abolished.
Right.
And they told jury members that, oh, don't you worry about that. That's not your concern.
Right.
Yeah, they
Blatant.
Yeah, blatant. So that means everyone in there needs to come out of prison. Individuals that have been wrongfully convicted, all of their cases need to be added as a clemency, that it needs to be redone, that they need to retract or go back to the original case. You know, because a lot of it was based on racism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them. I go to Buckingham facility on a regular basis. There's guys literally spending 30, 40, 50 years incarcerated, and they didn't murder anybody.
Right.
Didn't murder anybody. A lot of them, and I would say at least 30% of them, got falsely accused.
Right.
And the court system refused to hear the truth. They had to settle for plea bargains. They had to settle for public defenders that all they wanted to do is get the case closed.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's...
People don't realize how all that works these days, that 95 or more percent of cases don't ever go to trial.
Don't ever
right?
go to trial.
Which is crazy.
It's just crazy.
They're just forced to take pleas.
Yeah, they're just given a sentence.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Same day, one day shopping.
Right.
You know, they get it all.
Yeah.
Hear the charges here and get convicted all in the same day.
Right.
And their life is gone from there.
Right. A lot of people think like on TV, like, oh, there's a courtroom and there's a jury and you get to make your case and all of that and there's evidence, but that doesn't happen
And
anymore.
I encourage any and everyone with serious charges, always request a jury trial. Do not request a trial by judge. No.
Yeah.
Because you'll never get a fair deal.
Right.
Never will. Never will.
Yeah.
So I tell them, because that's when the prosecutor and public defender work together to solve this, to come up with a quick solution, and let's get it off both of our books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why individuals get all these absorbent, nonsensical sentences, and it doesn't make sense at all. It really doesn't. So that's my biggest passion.
Yeah.
I guess you can tell, right?
I'm glad it is, because
Yeah.
I think you're doing great work to help everybody out.
Yeah. And it's, that's why what we're going through with our Newport News office, I'm okay if that office shuts down, because primarily here in Richmond, Bridging the Gap in Virginia has become a household name.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about our organization,
Right.
what we do, and my phone keeps ringing, for people needing help. Just coincidentally, I went to the governor, spoke at OAR on last Friday. And he talked about, the different bills that legislation he will sign immediately.
Right.
And about, changing the criminal justice system. As soon as I got home, I got 3 calls in a row from family members. One woman was crying on the phone, why can't my son get released? So that has to change. You have to, the parole board, don't get me wrong, Adrienne Bennett has done a heck of a job since she's been in there.
They're doing a lot better.
Yeah, a lot better. But there's so much backlog.
Oh, exactly.
They need to be staffed a little bit more deeper than what they are.
Yeah.
In order to reach all these persons that either have pardons in, clemencies in, and have been incarcerated for 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
That should be parole eligible and be released. So it has to come through the attorney, from the Attorney General, as well as from the legislation, to add more funding in the parole board so they can put more people, hire more folk to review these cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make decisions on releasing people.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to tackle that one.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but whenever it comes up, I will. Whenever I get an opportunity to talk about it, I will.
Yeah.
I know this one legislator, Joseph Lindsay, has 15 criminal justice bills.
Wow.
That he has already filed. So I intend to be at each one of them.
Yeah.
Each one of them, I'm going to say the same thing at every one. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about right and wrong.
Yeah.
It's time to change the wrong to right.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not biting my tongue, and I'll be there for every criminal justice bill, as well as mental health bills, as well as environmental justice bills. That will be for everyone. The Green New Deal is going to be the next major legislation that goes through this General Assembly. So I'm excited about everything. Yeah. I need a break though. If I can get a good long weekend, to rest up, turn my phone off, don't talk to anyone, and just relax.
Yes.
I'm okay. Don't take my laptop, turn my phone off, and don't be bothered with anyone.
I told my partner last night, I said, after this legislative session, I might take an entire month off.
Yeah. Take your time. Yeah, I intend to do the same thing. I don't know if I can afford to take a month off, but I'm going to try and take at least 4 or 5 days, just to relax.
This is your work, though.
Yeah.
For me, my work is different, so,
Okay.
This is my side stuff, so.
Okay. Very good.
Taking some time is important, but yeah.
So we're excited of what's about to happen in 2020.
Yeah.
And I'm involved. I'm also involved with the Poor People's Campaign also. Yeah, I'm part of one of the Virginia state coordinators, and I went to a convening in Chicago back in November, and it was exciting. So I'm very big on. That's where I get this whole cliche or phrase that it's time to change the narrative in America.
It is.
Yeah. So that's my motto. Changing the narrative.
Yeah.
We need it. Yeah, it has to happen. Quick, fast, and yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from.
Anything else you want to share?
No, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Well, thank you for this. I'm so excited for all the work that you're doing.
Well, I appreciate
And
you
I'm really-
inviting me,
Thank
Jen.
you for doing all your work and for chatting with us. The last thing we gotta do is I'm gonna give you a hug.
Yeah. We got a good day coming up on Friday and Saturday.
We do, yes.
Yeah,
So if you're
Virginia
watching this
Prison.
before then, hopefully I'll put it
Yeah,
up.
Virginia Prison Justice Network.
Yep.
Yeah, come on out, folks. Families of incarcerated loved ones, please show up.
Saturday at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
At the Bell Tower.
Bell Tower.
Yep.
Very good.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Richard.
you. Thank you.